All right, I'm gonna start recording now. Why not? So what's up, everybody? Welcome to today is December 14th, quantum study session. Um, 7 p.m. It's kind of just hanging out up here. It's struggling to break 200. It is also holding on to 90, 88. So it's kind of like 84. This level down here, 84, and this 200, the psychological level. I am eyeballing the retracement up here at 208.50, and then seeing what it does in this area if it manages to get up there. The moment it is holding up below, so it might not even muster up the strength. This might be the only retracement it's giving us. It's a very bearish candle, so it doesn't look like it could do it. Couldn't do it so far, but it is stuck in a little tight range. So I'll kind of go over what this is. So there's a This is what I used to do way back in the day. I used to play these retracements on these candles. I would catch really decent moves, right? I would wait for level reaction, and then if the one and the five would line up for a potential stack push up, I would aim for retracement on any candle that did not get traced over. And I would look for a completely untraced candle, meaning there was a pull down, right? And none of this candle was challenged at all. And an example of that, let's go back here, right? Here's an example of it right here. This happened Friday. Oh, there goes. Look at that. There it goes. There it is, right here. Let's see if it tags it. I love when this stuff happens live. Like I love when it's happening as I'm explaining it. So close. It got to 208. I want to see a hit right here. That's the halfway point of that candle. It got super duper close, like a tick. But I love when stuff happens as I'm explaining it. Yep, stack levels are tough, Swab, absolutely. But here's like the catch, right? When you have market opens, where we just had Sydney open. Sydney just opened. So you have influx and volume, and the influx of volume, boom, there it is. There it is. There's my notification. I just got to hit my phone. And look at that little bit of a pullback. And this is something I used to use with options back in the day, when I would look for these violent pullbacks that would leave untraced candles, and I would buy contracts for a couple days out. I can't hold contracts, swing trades, and props, so I wouldn't play them props. The issue with trying to play them in props sometimes, right? Let's just say, an example, this big ass candle was left, right, throughout the night, and we're going to aim for it. I kind of did this little kind of like one contract thing. I caught some of the short, left one micro to see if it would go. If it broke this level here, I would have been out of it. And it came up, right? If one contract to come up to see if it would get all the way up there. It did pull me out before though. It did pull me out because it hit 188, so it hit one below 190. And I had my stop at 188, so it did tick me out, but it's still cool to see it. So I would eyeball for these, and then I would buy options a day or a week out to see if it'll come back up. It happens at a high rate, so just caught that little example here. Here's I was going to explain this one because I saw my Dom spike. So here's another example of this, right? Here's a candle, right? Purple candle, no retracement. This one did retrace. This one doesn't count, right? I'm looking for halfway. No retracement. Pull down to a level, right? Here's a 5 minute level. Same one it kind of bounced off right now. There's your pull up, right? And your retracement didn't fully occur. Almost. It occurred over here at the open, right? Occurred at the open, did reject afterwards. But this is kind of what I eyeball with these guys, right? Happened here, big purple, pull down, 5 minute level, close to the one that bounced off over here. There's a retracement. Now, if it breaks through 213, right, it could challenge the rest of it. But it is cool as hell to see it. And you guys can back test this, and you guys can go far back, and you can look at it, right? Some of them happen really fast. Some of them take some time. Ones like this, I do not count, right? One that had a big wick like that, I do not count. It needs to be a full candle. Just want to make that clear. Let's see if we can spot some more. That one got retraced halfway already. I don't count that. That one got retraced. I don't count that. Right, here's one that did not. You zoom in. Halfway would be right here. Got really close on that one. Boom, boom. There's your retracement and rejection. Here's another mini one that happened immediately. Let's go look. Here's another one. Right, here's another one right here. Pull down. about 30, 40 points before it came back up. There's your retracement right there. Let's see if we can spot some more. All right, then we'll kind of get into the nitty gritty. So this is like that fun secret menu item for Quantum. I like to divulge here and there, just because that play just happened right now. And it was, here's another one, halfway point right here. Boom, boom. You can see where it retraced right here, rejected. Then fully did a whole retrace there. But these are fun as hell. Again, risky because of the pull down. There's no idea, there's no way to tell how far down it'll pull. Right? This one pulled down for about 45 points before it pulled itself back up. Halfway was right here. Boom, boom. All right. Awesome. So that's a little fun thing I like to go over. I think I went over a few times already. So with that, welcome all the new folks. That's a nice little kind of secret menu item. I'll sneak it in here for the beginning. How many points before I enter? So I play these kind of similar to MVG, right? If you guys have ever tried the MVG indicator, I like to wait for 20 points pullback. I used to play these with minis, and I would pass evals like this, but I would blow the fundeds. And I would blow evals when I was passing them as well, in the process, right? Because you're trying to catch where it would reverse. And then with micros, it's so much easier to wait for those violent pullbacks and then start kind of scaling in maybe 1 or 2 micro at a time. If it pulls back even further, add 1 micro, but that pull up is going to eventually come. Again, the risky part about it is if, let's say, New York Open, it leaves one all the way up top, right? New York Open is violent, right? We could get a 200-300 point drop before it decides to come back up. And there's no guarantee it's going to come back up that same day. But there's a very high rate it will eventually come back up to that. And I've caught some big plays that way with options. Just 1 or 2 contracts, right? A week or like a few days out. I tend to do the trick on those. But again, my options is like a whole new, it's a whole different realm, right? You got to fight the Greeks. You got to fight the IV burn and all that fun stuff. All right. So with that being said, let's get to the nitty gritty, right? Let's go to what I look for with Quantum. What is Quantum? A lot of new folks in here. So Quantum is a strategy built into an indicator. It is a strategy I have banked on for a very long time. This is something that gave me structure. I know where my stop losses are. I know what plays I'm looking for. I know the setups I'm looking for. I know when I shouldn't be holding onto a trade longer than it needs to be. I know where I could potentially eyeball for a setup. Okay. I don't play liquidities. I don't play FEGs, right? Doesn't mean that stuff doesn't work. There are plenty of you guys in here are Llama students. Llama stuff. I've dabbled with his style of FEGs, and I've seen some really good setups and plays around them. I love his fibs. I do use his fibs with my saucebox as like a big area of interest when I'm looking for. If I have levels, fib, and saucebox all in play, I'm eyeballing that area, putting alerts all over it. I'm looking for a setup around there. Things like that help. Other than that, right, if you don't, before I ever learned Llama stuff, this is what I was looking for. I was looking for my candle formations, level holds, and quantum ranges. Okay. So what do the levels get formed by? The levels are formed by our action line crosses. What are our action lines? Our action lines are these lines that you see, right? They are pretty much like EMAs. You want to treat them like an EMA? I pretty much use them like people use EMAs. They are not your traditional EMA though. They form our levels, right? Where you see the crossovers occur, just like you would see a crossover in EMA when you're entering a play, right? These form the levels for us. So the levels for NQ, the ones that hold, are the 1 minute and the 5 minute. The 1 minute and the 5 minute levels are those ones that get respected a lot. So we go to the 5 minute chart. What do I mean by that, right? This 5 minute level was formed, boom, okay, right here, November 26th. Okay, more than a month ago, this level was formed. Oh, what's attached to it, right? What is attached to it? An A plus plus setup. Boom! Look at that, A plus plus setup. There's our blue book, our blue candle, right? Our quantum bullish candle. Here's our level. Look at the retest that occurred after at about 3 hours, almost 3 hours after it was formed. Beautiful, nice bounce off of it. And it did not come back to it until, boom, Friday the 12th at 11:35 and 11:20 and 11:40. And look, today, the 14th, at 6:05 p.m. Okay? These 5-minute levels get a lot of respect. Be patient around them. Don't just try to get in on a bounce, right? If you have tight stops and you're seeing it spikes back above it, and as long as it holds that level, you could catch play. But I like to wait for my action lines to give me a guidance. Okay? As soon as your action lines start giving you that curl, the bowling, right, where the potential to form a new level comes in, like it happened right here at 166, there's a chance this could continue up. This is that level formation that gives us our push. Okay, so let's go back to the 1 minute, because I enter my trades based off of the 1 minute. Right, what am I looking for on the 1 minute chart? This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the bowl or the curl shape. If the action lines are bowling, curling, right, just like an EMA line curls, everything like pretty much like an EMA. This is what I'm looking for. This is telling me this could hold up here, and potentially looking for another level to form to give it a hold. Formed 149. A plus plus setup. Not a real A plus plus setup. Why? The cross occurred in front of the candle. If you zoom in, and this is where you guys have to pay attention, right? Oh, the cross happened after, and then the sell signal or the buy signal printed. Yes, because the cross still met the criteria of within one candle. If it's within one candle, even if it's in the front, it will trigger the signal. Ideally, you want it to be in the center or you want it to be behind, because then you're going to get the best entry point. You're going to get the entry point at the candle closure, or you could wait for an advanced read. What is an advanced read? The retest, right? If the cross happens in front, the move is either in progress and you want to be cautious, or you could do what occurred is wait for the level to get tested. And as long as it keeps holding, as long as this level here and this level here keep holding, there's a potential that this will go up, right? And just like any setup, just like any strategy, there's no guarantee. You're trusting the process. You're trusting the setup. You see it, it looks good. You want to take it, you enter. Respect your stop loss, right? On this particular setup, right, that candle came down, wicked below your stop loss. Scary. I'll be like, do I keep holding this? The entry here, if I want to hold below, if I caught an entry at 53 and I saw this, I'll be like, oh no, more down 10 points. If I saw it bounce above this 139, I'd probably be okay holding it, because I would probably also be looking at my 5 minutes. My 5 minute was trying to cross up as well. So I would let it breathe, probably a couple micros, maybe 3. If the risk is around 10, 15 points, I tend to size down. So maybe 2 or 3 micros to test it. Each time it holds. There's a good chance that this will push up. Okay? Is, like I said again, right? Is it guaranteed? Nothing is ever guaranteed. This is all based on what you are reading and what you are given by the setup in the chart. You see your blues and your purples appear back to back. We should know immediately what else is there, right? Then we could do this, okay? Then we could do the quantum ranges. What is the quantum range, right? You have quantum candles. Your blues are your quantum bullish, your purples are your quantum bearish. The wicks you're going to play as your basic lines, right? These two formed first, so you would have your blue here and your purple here, right? Oh, immediately the purple got broken. To me, the purple no longer valid. Here's a little bit of a retest. It held. It could not push further, right? We're also downtrending, so it's kind of flatline. Guess what it does? It just re-enters the range with a new purple. What do I do now? Boom, right? Move it up. Now this is my range. Now back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Slowly, you can see it's gaining strength to the upside. right? It's not pushing to the bottom side of the range so much, slowly going up. And if you zoom out, what else do we see, right? You can see a high or low. Pay attention to these little things. These are like little added details, right? Market structure. A lot of people ignore. There's your break. Here's your retest. How do I play these quantum breaks? The candles that break the range are my guiding candles. So something like this, right? This big boy, I'd be caution playing these big boys, right? I don't want to see these big boys because all of a sudden my risk is greater. I will probably use the center as a stop loss, but if it's not too bad, it's that guiding candle. So in this particular instance, I would get in on the retest. If it closes inside, I probably would hold. I want it to close outside. This candle closed outside. My stop loss would be the guiding candle right down here, right? Obviously, I got stopped out on that one. If I entered this one, then I'm gonna adjust my candles, right? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, another purple one. Guess what? We're gonna adjust that there now. Okay, missed this one. This now becomes that, right? Up here's a tip break. Here's a pull up. Pulled up a little too far for me. Here's another retest. I might have tested this as long as it holds, right? You have your other confluences lining up. Your action lines are pointing up. Potential chance for it to push if the 5-minute holds. Re-enter around here. Where would my stop loss be here? I could either use that original candle that broke or the center of the range, because if it breaks the center, good chance that it's going to come back down. Okay, and I'm eyeballing where my risk is. Saw that pull up, little bounce back in, pull up, right? What happens over here then? What happens over here? You form another range, right? Not the prettiest, but it's back-to-back candles, still the same thing. Oh, what happened? Big break, could not continue, right? You had that level at 80. You had you had that level at 98. Held. You can see the flatlining. Then formed another range, okay? And you can see how it slowly builds a range, breaks, builds a range, breaks, builds a range, breaks, builds a range. And it's challenging this big guy right here, okay? This big candle right now, it is the whole bearish candle. It is struggling, right? Could not break 213, but it is still slowly building these quantum structures to hold up, right? This was the previous one. Oh, look at that. Bounce, 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 right? Asia, be cautious with Asia. It's usually a snooze fest, right? We saw some action at the open. 7 p.m. give us a nice push to that level here, the retracement of this purple candle. And now we're stuck here. Now we're stuck. What's this? About a 10-point range. Chop, chop, chop. 10 points. Is it worth for me to scalp 10 points at a time? Each candle is kind of like barely moving. Not really. I'd be bored. I wouldn't like this. I probably wouldn't enter this. There's not a whole lot of room to mess around here with. I don't want to get caught in the middle. I don't want to get caught on a potential break. It's too tight for me. It does look like it wants to keep pushing up, though. By the way, it's holding each little structure point. But again, is that guaranteed? No. Just by the analysis I'm reading based on the quantum candles and the ranges, it is slowly building a structure up, right? The previous structure down here, then the next, right? Over and over and over again, right? Boom, boom. And it's getting tighter and tighter. Each time it's getting tighter and tighter. If it continues to reject here, there's a good chance we might come back down. Obviously, the stance on the 5-minute, right? If you look at your 5-minute, the 5-minute is still downtrending. How do I know the 5-minute is downtrending? This is the only time I look at the cloud. I do not look at the cloud a whole lot on the 1-minute chart. We went over this last week. I don't look at the 1-minute cloud because the 1-minute cloud tends to be tight. But the 1-minute cloud can give you a good indication of how strong the current flipping trend is by how much it challenges and how it breaks that first level, right? You have your light green and your dark green. The dark green being the second level, the light green being the first. So as soon as it keeps bouncing off that first strong uptrend, right? Oh, it finally broke it. Now what it's going to do, it's going to challenge this bottom side. We're breaking back into the previous range. Now if this continues to hold, we might continue on the 1-minute uptrend to potentially continue to challenge the 5-minute downtrend. Okay, I look at the 5-minute downtrend more than the one because the 5-minute up and downtrend, those pocket trends give me a good indication of space of how much it might fight in between, right? If it's gonna go from right, originally we're held 192, right? Here's the 192, right? How much of this did we have to go all the way up to 228? That's about 30-ish, 40 points. There's a halfway point in between that I'm going to eyeball. That's about 15 to 20 points. That gives me decent room for potential little 15, 20 point scalp, right? 10, I go for 10 points. Everyone knows 5 and 10, right? 5 and 10 are my routine. 10 points is always my main TP. The 5 points is that kind of eases my anxiety, lets the play like feel less risk. That's what the 5 points is for me. So breaks through, hits all the way to 213, right? A retracement I was looking for also lined up with it. And now we're challenging that trend break at, what is it, 193, right here. What does that line up with? 190 on the 1 minute, right there. Look at that wick that just occurred right there. The 1 minute I'm using as like little, like if I'm in a short, if I'm like, okay, I'm like in the rejection at 13, right? I caught my 10 points, right? You already caught your 10 points. Now I'm running, now my runner is running. Okay, my runner is running. What am I going to do here, right? I'm going to eyeball where potentially there might be some points where it might reverse. I don't want to let my trade turn red. So I'm not letting that runner go back in the negative, right? I'm going to trail it either by 5 or by 10, or I'm going to go and look at where my areas are where I could keep going, either the center area where 200 was and hold my runner right there. If it keeps holding underneath 200, right, where that trend break was, we could potentially really break that 190. If it breaks that 190, we're going to challenge 184. Okay. I scout. Are there big play potentials? Yes, there are. Right? Do we see them? Absolutely, all the time. Right? The stack level formations give you the biggest plays. The more you get comfortable waiting and being patient for the setups, the level play, the more big plays you'll catch. But don't chase the big plays. They come, but don't look for them. Right? Take what the chart gives you. You will collect several points throughout 30 minutes that some people wait an hour for. Okay, I've done it over and over and over again. Some people wait for an hour for a 15 to 25 point play. Well, I've probably already collected well over 30 points within that 30 minutes. Just waiting for my levels, coming in, right? Identifying range, waiting for the range of breaks, right? I'm known as an overtrader. Do I really overtrade? No. I trade my accounts separately. Okay. I have about 16 funded accounts and a bunch of evals. I trade about 5 to 6 a day, sometimes less, not that many. I take about 4 to 6 trades per account. I can spread them out at any point of the day. I don't play video games. I haven't played a video game in 11 months, almost a year. In like 3 weeks, it'll be a year since I've played a video game. This is my video game now. If I'm bored, I'm going to pop up my phone and I'm going to wait for a setup. I can find setups at any time of the day. Okay? It's just, how patient am I going to be? How patient am I going to be? Am I going to wait for 30 minutes for a setup to show up? Probably not if it's low volume. But there are setups to take here and there. All right. So there it is, right? Challenged the previous little range and it popped itself back up. It's holding the 1 minute uptrend. Held it pretty nicely over here. Still challenging that 5 minute downtrend. Needs to continue to break through 213, and then there's a chance it might see that 225, which also lines up with around the top side of this purple candle. Top side of this purple candle is 229. Yeah, this is 228.25. So that's where we're at right now. All right, crossing up. Not a good potential play until it breaks 213. This is too tight for me to try to take anything. So I would just probably not trade at all. Or I would wait for probably 8 o'clock when there's another volume pump, and then wait to see if there's volume during that time. All right. So let me see questions. I'm going to read questions as I'm going through. I'm going to try to go back and read questions as I'm giving some explanations so I don't kind of go back and forth too much. All right, let's see. Top of previous quantum range. There you go. Hey, Maestro, new to quantum indicator. Just want a week free. Awesome, man. Welcome, Brian. And giving it a week. Can you give me a quick 2-3 minute basic breakdown? Breakdown of how to use it. So I gave a little bit of a breakdown there, right? But let me give you like the basics, right? The basics, right? I was explaining what I look for. This is like the main thing I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for the curling around levels. This is like the lowest risk entry points you're possibly going to get. As soon as you get that bowling right here, which usually, if it's wider, it usually requires a few candles to line up, right? My entry will start right around here, because around here, I have this level and I have the bottom of the line, right? And I'm going to use the bottom of the line as my guide. So if I'm coming in around 146, 145, my stop loss is either going to be 136 or right here at 131, right? Depending on where I want to be comfortable with. Obviously, I'm going to size accordingly. And then I'm going to wait for to see if this cross forms. If the cross forms, right, I've been at 145, boom, there's my points, right? I'm in 145. There's my 15 points. I took 10, right? My runner's running. My runner gets trailed out on that pullback. Okay. Now I'm seeing a purple and a blue. Now I'm like, ooh, okay. Now we're gonna potentially have range here. Let me see what can happen. Right. This would be the next setup. I would wait for the range. Boom, boom. There's my two candles, and now I'm gonna watch what it could potentially do. Let me get rid of this. Now I'm gonna be looking for a potential breakout. Right. Here's the breakout. Here's the retest. It held. Right. If I like it, I'm eyeballing this retracement up here. I probably might enter this. Let me enter. Like, okay, let's see it. It closed above 163. What would my stop loss be? 152, 11 points. Let me just go in with a couple micros to see. Oh, I got stopped out. Okay, it's not ready. Right. Let me adjust my line. Boom. Right. Wick, 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 wick. Up, another purple. Didn't break out. Wick. Okay, here we go. Here's round two. Little tippy tip break. Boom. Big test. Okay, not entering that big break. Here's another retest. I might enter around here. And then I'm going to use one of these candles as my guide, or the center, and I'm going to do the same thing. It broke the previous range. Looks like we're pulling up. 5-minute, if I'm looking at my 5-minute lines, they're also pulling up, right? I'm still liking it for the long. I'll try it again, right? I took my strike one over here. I still like it, right? Now the risk is a little lower, about a 7-point risk. I'm going to go a little heavier this time. And then there's your push. Push up, nice little sell signal across A plus plus setup on that push up, but no levels to show me a potential pull down. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if there was no level. I don't think there was a level there, right? 8-7 entry on these, and it was an advanced replay as well, right? Okay, so entry on an A plus plus setup is candle closure. So let's look at it. Let's turn off this freaking magnet. Boom. Let's take this off for now. All right, A plus plus setup, right? And I'm not taking plays in the middle of nowhere, so I wouldn't take this play normally if it wasn't a level above. But right, this A plus plus setup, candle close 79, your stop loss would be 87. What happened immediately was an advanced read. The retest of the level at 84. Okay, stop loss is now only 4 points. So if it pulled up and it say I didn't catch the 84 entry, I got 83, 83, or 82. My stop loss is still 87, 88. Let me try that, right? If I try it, I'm going to respect my stop. Potential for if it holds, right? If this is the advanced read where a retest of a level attached to the A plus plus setup gives that level strength. Nice little pullback. How many points did it pull back for? 834, about 12 points, 13 points for a 3-4 point risk before it jumped back up. Finally broke through it, right? Gave you another rejection here before it broke through it with a big push at the, what time was it? 6:50. And then it broke through that previous candle. So now another failed bearish move. So what is this telling me? Right? Every time a quantum candle gets broken, it is telling me that that direction it's going is pretty strong. So we're seeing all these previous bearish purple candles get broken. It is telling me that the pull up is looking pretty strong. Right? We had a little tiny setup here. Blue pushed up, broke through that bearish candle, failed bearish move, right? Max's favorite saying, right? There's nothing more bullish than a failed bearish move. Violet push up, then it kind of lingered, right? We tested it a couple times and gave you another push. Oh, look what's happening, right? Look what's happening. It's still breaking these previous bearish and ranges. It's still doing it, right? This is a tell that I like to use, right? If I see consistently these bearish moves are getting broken through, I am not going to enter a short until I see my 5-minute lining up or I'm in a major area of interest, which would be a level or a stack level. Do I have any 5-minute levels up here? All the way up here at 30. I don't think I'm going to see it on the 1 minute unless I make my adjustment. 330, boom, right here. So next stack level will be all the way up here at around 330, right? You have levels in between. You have 300, then you have 246. So I'm not going to be eyeballing anything until we hit around here, and I'm going to watch my lines to potentially give me a little push down. That could sometimes lead to a bigger push down, but am I going to eyeball a huge play? No, I'm not. Okay. But there are setups for days here, right? As long as this hovers above here, 211, 202, we could have a chance to test that 246 specs, right? We have to break through 229, right? This is the last barrier to go through on the 1 minute. That purple candle, it full-blown retracement happening. And then that would also line up with the 5-minute downtrend right here. So it is going to challenge it slowly, little by little, if it continues to hold above that general area. Okay, so A++ setups, the entry is candle close. Be cautious, right? Here's what an A++ setup looks, right? Cross happened behind it. Entry would have been candle closure or the retest. The advanced reads are my favorite. These are my favorite entries. Just reduces the risk immensely. And when you go back and you retest these advanced reads, you're going to see consistently how they line up, and there's always a rejection. Obviously, it also, you want to keep an eyeball in the movement. It has to be volume. ATR is a good thing if you want to use to kind of have a guiding point, right, for a rejection, how much you might get of rejection per candle. Some people like to use that. I personally don't, but I've seen people use it with success for TPs. But this is that low. This is the low risk entries I look for, right? 84, 83 entry, stop loss right above 87, 88. These are the advanced reads, right? At A++. All right. Then cross happened in front, boom, boom, right? Retested. Then you have your range plays, broke back in, then broke back out with the cross, right? This is trying to cross back down. Might retest the range one more time. And okay, this is what I was going to go over. Be careful as I was explaining the A++ setup. I go back and forth a little bit. All right. The crosses that happen above the candles, right, when they're quantum bullish or quantum bearish, okay? If they happen above a quantum bullish candle, bearish candle, be cautious, because what does it mean when the level gets challenged like it did so here, right? What's happening in the process as that level is getting challenged? It's breaking our bearish candle. So what's probably going to happen? It's probably going to push up, all right? So always be cautious entering when the crosses are above a bearish or below a bullish, because the challenges of them getting tested are high, right? Does it make the play invalid? No. There are many occasions where you'll see a cross above and it'll go through. It'll go. But these don't necessarily go through as much as they do when they are crossed inside, right? We had one here, right? This one did cross above and it gave you another rejection point where it kept breaking, right? Kept holding the level, kept bouncing below and challenging the previous range, right? Kept challenging the previous range, boom, 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 and then it finally pushed up. So be cautious with these. Do they make the plays invalid? No, they're just riskier. They're riskier, right? If you entered on the candle close, 205, your stop would have been 210, 5 points, right? You would have gotten stopped out on here if you had it right at 210. I like to kind of cover, if it's like super low risk, I'll give like 2 points of breathing room just because of these wicks at Asia. You could have scalped a little bit here, 207. About 10 points on this pull down right here, right? But again, it's too tight for me. This previous break, it's too tight. I would have probably taken a trade there. On evals, maybe I'll play the chop here and there, right? I play chop on evals a lot, but the majority of the time, I don't like when it's breaking previous ranges, and I'm not going to short a previous range just because it's too tight and it's probably going to keep bouncing. Okay? And I would want to wait for it to get to an area like 246 or 301 next. That will be the areas I would eyeball if I'm looking for a short. Just want to make that clear, right? Because if this is still looking bullish, every time it breaks through a range, I might try to test the continuation pull up until my 5 minutes starts breaking down below 200. But I love to wait for levels. I love to wait for like Saucebox, right? I have Saucebox that's in play. I'll wait for that as well. Okay. So those are the entry points for those. Those are like the basic of the setup. What I would advise you, Brian, right, is get really good at the basic setup. Understand how to read the A++. Understand how to read the action lines around levels. Those are your guides. Your action lines are pulling down. good chance it's going to pull down some. When if it approaches a level, it's the best, right? If you're approaching a level, just like down here, you got this level below. Can you just play levels? Absolutely. You can play levels just like anything else, as long as it doesn't break it, bounces back above. If it holds, good chance it'll hold, and it'll, in your lines, you use them as your guidance. Another level forms, guess what? That's forming another stack of support for you. That pushes up, and then you saw another stack level formed right here, and it gave you a little bit of a push up, but again, it's very slow right now. Very, very little push-ups, right? From the stack level formation at 83, I mean, it's still almost 40 points that pushed up, but still, you know, it's slowly doing it. Like from here, 84 to 97, then it hung out here for a while. Then from 99 to 209, then it hung out here for a while. Then from 209 to 223, now it's hanging out here. Okay, so you have to be patient. You have to be cautious. The guidance is there for you, right? You can see how it respects these levels. MOC, I use levels for MOC. Yeah, I'm just looking for where the levels are, right? I want it to test the level when I'm playing MOC. If MOC is right on the level, that's the level I'm using. I always say it all the time, right? If I'm in between space, I'm going to wait for a reaction. I want to see what it does if it pulls up. If it's got opening from the where MOC is about to form to a level above, there tends to always be a pop to test that level. And if it can't break that level, we're going to come back down. But the quantum candles is all I'm looking. I want to make that clear too, right? The quantum candles is all I'm looking for until a setup forms, right? I'm just looking at my blues and purples. And then when I'm not looking at them, the only time I'm not looking at them is when there's a break. When there's a break, I'm looking at the break. I don't want it to be a monster candle like this. I don't want that to be that because I'm not entering on the top here. I'm looking for the retest. I'm looking for the hold, and I'm going to try to capitalize on the bounce off that break, right? If it's retest and it holds, 99, right? I'm looking to capitalize on the bounce, right? Same thing with level breaks. You want the level to break, then retest and hold, and go. Okay. Do you play the same secret menu play off blue candles? No, they don't work the same on blue candles. Allsac. They are completely like the blue candles do not hold that same kind of magnet like draw that these purple ones do. And there's a specific reason for that, and I can't go into it because it is kind of like this little hidden sauce that's in the purple candles. So I can't go into that one, unfortunately. But they get retraced at a very, very high rate. Very high rate. The blues, not so much. The blues get played through immediately. There's none that get left alone that get drawn back to. There's a ton of them way, way down below. Like I'm talking about like 1,000 points down, more than that, like 3, 4, 5,000 points down. They don't. The purple ones, they're almost every single one's been retraced. Like after like a 1,000, 2,000 point drawdown, they don't. It's like you know the market likes to go up more than it likes to go down. But the blue ones don't. They don't know. All right. How many points before you enter? Before like risk, I look for 15 points or less risk, and then I base my sizing off of that. The higher the risk, the lower the size I go. Is it like the 30-second one that just happened on gold? So basically, you want it to wait for the levels to cross the blue, the purple confirmation, NTP at the bottom of the top of the cloud. Yeah, you can use the cloud as a confirmation as well. Absolutely. Let's see. Let's look at gold. All right. So I don't trade off the 30-second anymore, Jehu, though. That's the only thing. But the setups on the 30-second chart are identical. It's the setups are the same. I used to trade the 30-second chart a lot. There was a nice little one here that did cross in front slightly. So this one did cross in front. So the move did occur already, right? But this entry here would have been based on this level hold. So here, as soon as this candle closed and this I saw this sharp curve right here, I would have gotten in on this next candle as long as it held above or held the level. I would have played this potential push up before this even occurred. If this candle closed down here, if it closed up here, I probably would have entered on that as well. But we would have waited for a pullback. And as long as it held that level, you had a good push up. But this looked like this cross was occurring on this candle closure actually. Looks like it pulled up, then it gave a little bit of a retest. So the entry, man, I hate when I don't say that. It's hard to say how it formed if I'm not seeing it live. So I'm trying to eyeball it because this is a bearish candle. If it closed, the candle closed up here at 86, so the cross already happened. I probably would have entered on this candle right here, and it pulled back, and it pulled back to 27.2, and my stop would have probably been right down here. Yeah, and then wait for that potential push. It gave you that push, gave you the stack level formation, and then now it held, gave you a nice little push up, nice little curl down here for a little push down, and then it respected the level again. And you're looking, and this is the level play I like, when it's this close to a level. When it's this close to the level, why do I like these? Because then these become extra low risk. This close to the level, that cross, that little curve up, closure right here, stop loss right below here, right? Entry would be 32.6, stop loss would be 31.8, 31.6, about 10 ticks, and then there's your move. That's why I love them when they're that close to levels. That's what I look for. So right now, gold is testing. Oh, gold is on the wrong time frame on this one, 2 minute. Gold time frame is 1 in the 2 minute. Yep, the levels are correct. The 1 and the 5 on gold do not get respected at all. It's the 1 and the 2. Just like this. See how these levels hold on the 2 minute. Just like they would on NQ, the 1 and the 5, right? The 5 minute levels hold this way. On gold, the 2 minute levels hold. That's what I'm always eyeballing, right? And then again, right? Do you get wicks like this at levels? Yes, you do. I'm just not a fan of playing these like bounces, immediate bounces. They're risky, especially when there's like a hard pull down at them and your action lines aren't catching up. It can get really risky, because if the action lines are way up there and there's a violent push up, there's a good chance it could potentially break it. This one immediately bounced up. It immediately bounced. This gave you a nice, right, cross happened almost in the middle, quickly pushed up, then rejected, challenged the level. That was an A++ here that gave you a little bit of a push and rejected there before it came back down and tested this level again. This is an A++ right here. Cross happened behind, also breaking the previous range area, then give you that push up. Gold flows a little smoother. Like, I love the way gold reacts to the levels here. Right, here's gold's reaction to a stack level. Right, nice cross up, nice curl. Right here, stop loss would have been down here. Entry here or here. As long as it held, there's your move. It looks like a strong area on gold. Slowly creeping up. Gold's looking rangy though. Like, look at this. That's rangy. Okay. So basically, you want to wait for the levels to cross with the blues and purple confirmation. Yep. All right. And the cloud, right? The cloud is an additional confluence that you want to use if you want to use it. I don't use it on the 1 minute. I like to eyeball it on the higher time frame personally. The higher time frame gives me really nice read of what the trend is like. And each time it breaks the higher time frame trend, it gives you a really nice potential continuation. Oh, look, the 5 minute. There we go. Here's finally, slowly, right? It's getting up to that 228, very slowly. Right? It's just breaking every range. It's building your quantity. You can see like the staircase up in the candles. You can see each time it breaks, challenge the little previous area, then bounce right up. Boom. Oh, it's when you can narrate this and you see it over and over and over again. That's why I love doing these things live. I do all my coaching live. I do all these sessions live, because the patterns repeat themselves endlessly. Why I can find setups at any time of the day. I don't have to just wait for a certain time. The only problem is when there's low volume, is you're just gonna wait forever, right? That's the only thing. You're just gonna be watching paint dry. That's the only thing I hate, is when like Asia's super slow. It's just like, it's like the setup's there. I know it's there, but is it gonna take me 30 minutes to get these 10 points? That's the issue sometimes. When you say front, you mean to the right. Yeah. So when I say when it crosses in front of the candle, I mean to the right of the candle. Yes. Sorry, that wasn't clear. Are you worried it fills the FEG and then dumps? Oh, I don't look at FEGs at all, Rich. I don't look at FEGs at all. That's the thing, right? It's funny how certain things can align sometimes, but like there's things that I don't use that, But I just don't use them because they're not consistent enough for me. Do FEGs give an area to look at? Yes, they do. Like I said, I've seen some of the way Llama uses his FEGs. I've seen the way they line up with a setup, and I'm like, oh, look, it's one of his that he likes to play on, and I'll see my candles reacting around them, right? Just like I would around his fibs or around soft spots. But I don't use FEGs personally. Kathy, you're a Llama student. You probably use some of them. Yeah, and the thing, Jehu, the 5 points isn't even my main target. Like the 5 points is risk reduction. So I'll explain this to you guys, right? The 5 point thing, right? The 5 and the 10 points. And I always tell my students this because this is the way that really flipped my mind when I was being greedy and trying to win these huge plays back in the day to show off. I've been in the restaurant business for a long time. 25 plus years. I've been a general manager. My pay was always around $30 to $32 an hour with overtime. I would work a lot of overtime. Restaurant industry, they want you there 10 plus hours a day. With overtime, that was my average pay, 30 to 32 an hour, right? With 3 micros, the 5 points is $10, the 10 points for your second micro, right? This is just three, right? So one micro you sell at 5 points, the next micro you give out at 10 points, that's your $30 there. That's what I used to make an hour at a restaurant doing a lot of physical, mentally draining work. The 3 micros, right? And my runner would collect extra if it wanted to give it to me. And here I am trying to make 5,000 to 6,000 a day to show off to people I don't know, blowing account after account after account because it's not sustainable in the long run, right? To be consistently making that amount of money every single day takes a lot of sacrificing. You're going to be blowing accounts left and right, and you're going to be going in heavy all the time. And I played with 50Ks a lot, so that mindset, the 5 and the 10, right? Initially, I didn't do 5 and 10. The 5 and 10 came in later because I wanted to have fun trading. I didn't want trading to be stressful anymore. I didn't want the anxiety to control me. The 5 points controlled the anxiety. It made the risk a lot less. And then I was just like, I'm already making more than I was making at my previous job that I was like freaking struggling with. Working every single day. Even when I wasn't at work, I was working. My phone would blow up every single time I was off. We need this. This person didn't come in. They forgot this, and it's just like you're endlessly on the clock, even though you're not getting paid. And I was able to make way more than that in 1 hour, clicking buttons with 3 micros, 5 and 10. That helped my mindset. So a little free chicken for you guys there. This session is recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube ads. Yes. All right. Let's say you get 7 points and not your 10. Do you move your stop loss profit or no? Nope, I don't. I respect my setup. Okay. So on occasion in Asia, when Asia session is super slow and it took me like 10 minutes to get 5 points, then I'll go break even because it took forever. And I'm like, screw this. I'm not going to wait another 20 minutes for it to take me out. On those occasions, but then that I'll be done. Like I won't trade anymore after that. If Asia's that slow, I'm not gonna trade that. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this thing move 5 points every 20 minutes. Like it's not worth the stress for me, right? And there's days where Asia's really nice, where like it's really really smooth, got some good moves going. But there's others where it's just like you got to wait for that volume to kick in. It usually starts kicking in during London. A little later in the evening, like 9, 9:30, 8:30 sometimes has a kick in volume. But between like 6 and 8, it can be like a snooze fest. Let's say you get some. So that's when I do that sort of drill. So when it's like super duper slow, and then I'm like, oh, finally hit my 5 points. And it took like, oh, how long did it take? It took 10 minutes. God dang. And I'm just going to put it break even. Just screw that. No, that's when I do stuff like that. Are the haters would call you gambler? Yeah. I know. So, let you guys in on a little secret, and it'll be on YouTube. We baited them a little bit on purpose. We were like, see how much hate we can get. Let's post these things up, and let's see how much hate we can get. And then I kind of did. I don't flex, but I get hate, and I feed off of it. Like it's fueled me. Like I'm finally like, it bothered me at first, like when I first started this, because I went through a lot of tough times. And my wife kind of worded it in there, right? She worded it in there that like I take things personal because I've been through rock bottom, and it's true. I worked so hard to get to where I'm at now and to get the strategy where it is now. I went through so many mistakes, blew so many accounts, hit rock bottom multiple times along the way. That's like when people have doubt and they're like, "Oh, this isn't real. You're just selling stuff." I'm like, "I'm not selling anything. I'm not trying to sell anything. Like I'm trying to educate and give a tool out, right, that people can use." And there are a lot of people out there that are paying for these signal discords that aren't learning a thing. They're not learning anything. And I'm here trying to teach everyone, right? I want people to learn. I want people to understand that powerful little tool we have here that gives you that guidance. No, we're not guessing where our stop losses are. No, we're not like we don't know what's happening. We know what's happening. We know what the potential there is. Oh, look at that thing go, right? We can see what it's doing visually. We're not looking at like, oh, what's this candle and that candle? This is that. No, I have visual guides here with specific candles to look at that give you a clear guidance. I know when a play is dead, right? I know when it's looking bullish versus bearish. Every single time it broke these quantum bullish bearish candles, right? What's been happening? It's been going up. It's been doing that since down here, right? I know where my stop losses are, right? If I'm playing a bullish move, I know if it breaks down here, I'm going to get out of it, right? If I'm continuing to hold, every time it forms these little things, right? You could keep holding until one of these areas break too. But am I patient enough to play that? No. But you can see it. Like we're not guessing here. We're not like, oh, oh, where's this? Where's that? Where's my stop loss going to be? Where's this going to be? That's what I needed. I had no idea what I was doing when I first started trading futures because I was into options. And options moves so slow compared to this. Like this is a whole different game. And I'm like trying to like figure out my risk, figure out where the play can go, how many points to collect. And I was always hitting home runs. I was always chasing home runs. I was always chasing home runs, and I did not see the value of what you can build with these base hits over and over and over again. And yeah, people are gonna, oh, you took 70 trades, 80 trades. They're freaking micros. I'm like hitting six micros at a time, and the trails they count as trades, and it just keeps going. And then guess what? I also do, right? I DCA on occasion on the retest, right? But I always respect my stop losses. Like stop losses never move, right? If you listen, right, what do I say, right? I size according to the risk. If my risk is 15 points, I'm only going to start with one or two. Why? Because there's a chance it's going to pull down and test. And guess what's going to happen? I might add one or two on the retest, but my stop loss is going to stay the same. I'm getting in the trade knowing that there's a potential for it to go, but I know at the same time, if it breaks down, I know where my stop loss is going to be, and I'm already okay taking the L. If I DCA, the risk is already so low anyway, it's not going to hurt me at all. And I'll be easily able to move on to the next. And it adds up so fast. Like I showed my payouts. So I have not shown my payouts in a long time, in 1 month of what I do. And I do not copy trade. I don't copy trade. And I only trade micros. And those things that you, when you see like those things that say 100 trades, oh, you took 100 trades. Oh my God. No, I took like more like 5 or 6 or maybe 7 on some. If I'm on a hot streak and I haven't struck out, I might keep going until I strike out. And if I don't strike out, guess what? I'm going to keep going. And those micros add up. Like those trades go up like as the micros trail and this and that, right? And occasionally I get stopped out on plays. It happens. But that's a part of it. All right. But this thing was so freaking cool to see. All right. Now it broke through 29. It broke through 29, retested it once. Look at this. It retested. It broke through 29, retested it. And then jumped right off again. All right. So, okay. Anyway. I know it's that, ads. What's that about printing money? Do you watch ES during this time? No, I don't watch ES, Guy Man. I do not watch ES. Also, remember the manual. Yep, there's a manual pinned. Check out that manual. Check out the video I made about the manual. I made a really nice little visual, detailed video on the manual. And I might make another one because we're thinking about updating it a little bit. Some of the terminology, some of the things in there. So I might make another one. But the manual, to give you the visuals, like what we go over here when we're doing these study sessions, that manual has a lot of these same visuals that you guys, if you guys are like, oh, what did he say here? What did he say here? It's all, everything right? And those of you that are new, the longer you stick with us, you're gonna see how repetitive everything is. Why am I consistent? Because I look for the same thing over and over and over again. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. I don't look at ATR. I don't look at any of that, right? I look for the same setups over and over and over again. I try to capitalize on the same movement over and over and over again, and that's it. It's it. Like there's no guessing where the setup's going to be. I wait for the levels. I wait for the reactions on my action lines. I wait for my candles. I wait for the ranges. I wait for the stack levels. That's it. All right. Is this okay for a range test? Yeah, that was actually that setup that just played out. Break, and you want it to kind of pull down a little bit to retest, but obviously, again, right, the size of the candle, you want to be cautious on those bigger candles because the risk tends to be a little higher. Do you use untested blue candles as well with the retrace? No, no, no. I do not use the blues for the retraces. The blues do not give any retrace guidance at all. Oh yeah, look at you, man. It looks like you're having a good time, ads. It looks like you're having a good time, brother. So you look for a level even to enter on an A plus plus setup. I look for other confluences, right? If it's just an A plus plus setup, the only confluence I have is the candle and the cross and the potential level formation, which is the cross itself. That's only two confluences for me. That's not enough. I need at least three or more. So I'm not looking for just like a plus plus setup in the middle of the chart, right? If I have orb, if I have maybe sauce box in play, then I have added confluences. If I'm in the middle of nowhere, and if I'm not in near a level, then I may take it. But if I don't have anything else other than it's an A plus plus setup in the middle of nowhere, I won't take that. Do we need to change any settings for the 1 and the 5? No, you don't. The only thing, if you're not seeing a level at 230, wait, do we have a level at 230? No. Oh, okay. If you're talking about why I was saying 230, 230 was the change in trend on the 5 minute, which now you can see it's double green, right? So it broke through 230 right here, 228, and then over here, which lined up with this bearish candle at the open of the market, that big bearish sell that occurred at 229. So that's why I was looking at 230. If 230 broke, that's the break of the downtrend on the 5 and also the break of this bearish candle at the open. And it's still going up. And right now we're approaching this 246. 246.75 is the next area. Makes sense. The risk to reward is more risky. Yes. 2-minute stack play out above, but didn't enter it. It's like how tight ALs were for 1 and 2. Yeah, look at that. Very nice looking, Kathy. Right, because of the overall sentiment of the market is naturally bullish because the cross is inside the blue candle. Yeah, so the cross inside the blues, obviously, those are steps for your buys for the A plus plus setup, right? Something like this, right? This crossed in front, right? So an example of it crossed in front, right? Your center was here, the cross happened, the move was already in progress. Did not present an advanced read. It did not pull back all the way. It just hovered. And it did break, right, the previous range, which was over here, the previous bearish candle. Did it even come down to test that, and then continued on its way. So these are, again, this is riskier because if you play these, right, you want the A plus plus setup, you want it to be behind your entry's candle closure. Retest, potential move, right? But here, uptrend's holding strong, held the 1 minute uptrend, boom, boom, right? Crossed over, gave you the buy signal, cross happened in front. Even so, right? It's still left. Even if you wanted to test the level hold, enter at 223, held above 217. I don't play these. I don't play these. I know some people do, but I don't play it like this, right? There's your move up. As long as it held that level. If you played one micro here, left room to add, have your stop loss right there. But again, this is not the way I play it. Just an example. Right? We approached 246. What does it say? 242. So 246 was a strong area. They didn't even tap it. There's your action lines giving you your guidance, and all the way back down to 217 potentially. It's going to test that 1 minute uptrend line, 222 or 217. Right? Again, right? This is why I wait, right? What I was saying, right? I wouldn't look for potential short until we got close to that level. Right? There's a short. How far down it'll go? If it wants to continue, it needs to break down here at 222. 222, what is that? That is the uptrend on the 1 minute, and then it will challenge the 217. The 217 is attached to the A++ setup. So if it were to potentially bounce anywhere, it might be down here if it does tap that. But we want to be careful because what's happening here too? Now the 5 minute is trying to pull down. Maybe the 5 minute is rejecting the break of the uptrend. It closes below 224, 220. Let's see. It's pulling back up. The 5 minute has about 5 seconds. So if it doesn't close below 220, it's a good chance it might just start ranging a little bit. All right, there we go. So now the 5 minute, right? Look at the action lines. Look how close they are together. This needs to close below this is how eyeball. This is how I measure it, right? I'm looking at how close they are. I'm looking at where the level will potentially form. It will probably form around 227, 226. It will need to close well below that for that level to form. If it does not, she ain't ready to come down yet. All right, 1 minute uptrend respected. 221 bounce right there. Look, hit 221. There's a little bit of a bounce. Yeah. The flipping trend might be still okay, but it needs to hold above 230. It needs to start breaking through these, or it'll start getting stuck in between here until, what time is it? We're at 8:05 already. Okay, 8:05. So we're already in Tokyo session. So right now, 246, 217. There's a lot more room up than down, but these levels, right, these were formed during low volume sessions. So if Asia volume does pick up, they could get broken. But there's a lot more room up than down at the moment. But I would not be surprised if it gets stuck here for a while. Okay, are those levels separate from quantum? Which levels? Like these levels are created by quantum. The blue, the lines that I'm drawing, right? Like the purple, like what I was saying, 230 or 220, right? The candles themselves, right? That's your bearish candle. Right there. Right. Once it broke that, then it bounced, boom, boom. The same thing, right? You could hold the bottom of blues, right? If it breaks that level, you would want to hold the quantum bullish candles. And then you got your cloud. Played that you just taught. There you go, Alaskan. I got a nice pullback of a 2-minute level on gold now. There you go. Nice job, Yuki. So an A++ setup is when the cross happens before the candle. Thought it was inside. Yes, inside or behind, but it has to be at the center, Lekram. So if it crosses inside, but it's slightly to the right, that's where you have to be cautious. You have to pay attention to what your action lines are doing. But again, right? If there's a bullish candle, if you got a quantum blue or quantum purple, and you're about to get across, you could get in before the actual move happens and respect the stop with the candle that's holding that potential lock of level. Okay. I've tested that on occasion. I haven't gone into detail on it yet. It's varied so far. It's low risk at times, but if you're trying to catch a preemptive, and I'm not a fan of these because I hate these kind of, anticipation plays. But they are sometimes low risk where you see your candle forming, you see the cross potentially happen, and you could test it. You could test it because the cross it's just like this, right? You see your cross happening. Oh, you have a blue behind it already. You have the potential of another one or another one pre-forming. You could start getting in at 216, 217, and your stop loss will be right at 213. And I've tested a handful of these. And again, right? I'm looking for low risk entries, right? I'm looking to protect my accounts. Why do I do this? Is because I look to protect my accounts, right? My upbringing into this world, I had nothing. I needed to protect those accounts because I didn't have anything. I had no money. I had nothing to buy and reset accounts with. I needed to make my accounts last as long as possible so I can milk them as much as possible, get as much, milk out of them, much money out of them as possible to build up and continue to save to provide for the family. And that's why I trade the way I trade, right? I look for these lower risk entries. I look continuously for 15 points or less. All right. So cross inside the body, which continue to, or on the left one candle. Yep. So yeah, so it's within one candle. Yeah. Good, good, Kathy. Not above. Yep. Thank you, Kathy. 231 is now the major resistance. I'm in the industry, but I'm an above store leader. Yeah, there you go, Alaskan dog. You get to go. You get to go around the stores, right, and watch everybody and be like, you're not doing this, do that, get better. Yeah, I aimed for that for a while, but I was like, sometimes, man, there's I've had some of those area coaches who like think they're the actual owners and stuff. Like the reason I quit my previous job was because of the person above me that was kind of like the area coach. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They just said she pissed me off, and I'm not easy to piss off. Like I'm a team player. I work. I'm loyal, and I'm out there. I'm not. I don't hide in the office. I don't go and be lazy. Like I'm out there with my team. Yeah, tips. Yeah, you tip your servers. Absolutely. I tip my dashers. I used to DoorDash. I did Instacart. Now we get DoorDash and Instacart, and I make sure I tip them very well. I understand the struggle. All right, can't wait for that one. Oh, me too, Alaska. I can't wait for it, brother. All right, Asia can be very brutal. Have you? Yeah, Asia Gold. Okay, me too. I know they're talking about I'm over 50 general manager, and they call me all the time. Oh, yeah, you did your military time and want a nice retirement life. Yeah, dude, that's the dream, man. That's the dream. And I didn't think I'd be getting here like this, bro. Like I told you, this last month, those payouts that I had this last month, like really opened my eyes. I talked about it on Friday during the Power Hour show, where I'm like, I was super nervous for this event because we got these big dogs coming in, and I'm like, who the hell am I? And I'm looking at my payouts for the last month and a half, and I'm like, you know, uh, considering how I play, right? Because I'm only playing micros, and how much I made this last month, I'm pretty much there. Like, dude, I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, I can't believe that a year later, the year anniversary, the November last year was my best month because my first payout was in 2023, October 9th. And I freaking collected almost 19 in between October 9th and the mid towards the end of November, like around Thanksgiving. And this time I did double that in less time. So I'm like, holy crap, that's freaking awesome. Now there's a 5 minute pull down, low 30. This has about 2-3 minutes left, so it's ranging. It is just ranging right now. No bullish candles showing up at the moment. So the longer this stays below 230, the more chance this has of potentially pulling down some. But this needs to really close below 230. If it does not, this is going to break up and it's going to continue. It's going to pretty much confirm the break of the downtrend. All right. What was that moment in trading where everything just clicked? For me, oh man, that's hard to say because like I have many moments. Like, but when I started really respecting the stop losses, that's what I was like, what the hell was I doing? Like, why didn't I? I used to blow accounts, but I would just get mad because I'll be like, the play didn't play. I knew I should get out of it. I didn't. I was down way more than I should have been, and I would just be like, screw it. This account's either going to die or it's going to come back, and most of the time it will die. And once I started using stop losses, that's where things started falling in because I was not using stop losses. And then I would be like, oh, okay, that loss wasn't so bad. Sizing down the micro thing, I've gone over that, right? Micros, I had so much doubt that I'd be able to do with what I wanted to do with micros because I was trading 2 to 3 minis before. And 2 to 3 minis gave those numbers that seemed sexy at the time, right? Those big 1,000, 2,000. And then I went down to micros when I was playing with my Tradeify account when that first payout came out. And I'm like, this is gonna take forever. Like, oh my god, 5 micros, and 5 points were $50 versus 5 points with 2 to 3 minis were like $200 to $300. But then when I started seeing what happened when it would lose, I'm like, oh, this feels so much better. Like losing with 5 micros feel way better than losing with 3 minis or 2 minis. So it's like this mindset thing. You gotta really like get a hold of that. Learning to lose, sizing down, and then just like letting the plays play. Like I just started just doing what I was doing, just being like, okay, I like this. If this holds above here, I'm gonna It should go. Click, click. Where's my stop loss? My stop loss is if it holds above here. If it doesn't hold above there, right, there's a chance it's going to range or it's going to come back down. So that's where my stop loss is going to be. And then I just started catching these plays over and over and over again. I would narrate the way I narrate with you guys in Power Hour. And I narrated the same way when I was first doing the discovery of everything to my wife. And she was the one that was just kind of like blindly looking at me and looking at the chart. She had no idea what was going on. And she was just like, oh, cool. And I was like, it's so cool to happen what I said. Stuff like that. It's funny stuff, like little things like that. But like it's just really everything just started clicking once I just started respecting my rules, man. The psych is just crazy in this game. Why don't you still core Psychox and Llama Logan is dropping the next week? I mean, I have recorded videos already for my previous group sessions. So in a sense, it's kind of like a course when you get in there. But, right now that's not in my thought. It's just, I don't know, if it happens, it's going to happen naturally. I enjoy what I'm doing, right? I limited how much space I have available for my coaching because I want to spend time with the family, because that was the whole point of this, is for that freedom of time. But I also want to be able to share that with the world of what you could do. Like, what can you really do if, you learn and you can follow the rules and you can follow this and that, right? And I do this with quantum as well. Like quantum, all the quantum setups, everything, there's nothing hidden about quantum anymore, right? My coaching session, I dive into a little more detail of, my specific trading times, when I'm the most profitable. The sauce box is a major, major thing for me as well, for potential setups and things like that. And then I go over some of Mac's stuff. I go over some of Max's favorite setups and then SPX reading. So like added little things in there as well. And then I obviously have the videos that I have recorded as well, and they're available for the students. And we're going to do more group sessions as well in the future. Can you please get into the bowl? Are you mainly looking at the 5-minute bowl when you look at these moves? No, I'm mainly looking at the 1-minute bowls, Big Smoke. So I'm looking at the 1 minute. The 1 minute is my entry point. The 5-minute bowls can be very wide. So like a 5-minute bowling here, right? You would wait for the candle to close. If it closes 64, let's say 63, your stop loss on this would be at 43. That's a 20-point stop loss. So the bowling on the 5 minutes a lot riskier. But what I'm looking at to start on the 1 minute. I'm looking, okay, if I'm like looking at my 5 minute, my 5 minutes kind of far. So I'm going to be playing it a little cautious and maybe a little light, right? Because the lines were down below here on the 1 minute, right? They curled below the level and then they started hooking up. Now my entry would be around the 45-50 area instead of up here at the 63 area. And my risk would be the break of the level or this candle here at 31. So that is a better entry point for me than on the 5 minute, where it will be a 20-point risk if I'm waiting for that same kind of action to happen. So on this particular setup, right, on the bowling, that curling, like you're seeing, it's just the shape of a bowl. That's why I call it the bowling, right? BOWL, the bowling right here. This is what I'm looking for. If I start seeing these candles close above, I'm looking for that to kind of hold, and this is going to be my guiding point for potentially to see this happen, the level formation. Then, on occasion, right, doesn't always occur, but occurs at a high rate, you'll see your blue candle show up. And then that's your confirmation of, okay, there it is. There was my play, and my runner probably got trailed out on that pullback. Now, if this level continues to hold on that pullback, right, pulled back, pulled right back up, tested this level again, I might retest it. Like, if this continues to hold 49, I'll leave my stop loss below this 40. I might get back in it and test the level hold. We got a 5-minute level. You got another 1-minute level. Tends to be a nice little area to look for a potential bounce. As long as the risk is there for me, that's what I like. But the 5-minute bowls, right, these curl ups around the levels on the 5 minutes tend to be a lot wider and a lot riskier. So my runner at this point, right, if I re-entered it over here, I would hold on to a runner or two just to see if the 5 minute would continue that push up. And then I would let that runner collect for me. That's how I play it. Did Asia just open? Tokyo opened at 8. Could watch blue plus better. Could want. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this slowly, Jehu, because you'd want to catch a blue candle plus action candle crossed with a higher time frame trend confirmation. I don't look at the higher time frame trend necessarily. Remember, I'm only using it as a guide after I'm in the trade. I'm not looking at the trend to confirm the trade itself. I'm using the trend cloud as an added area to look for where I could see potential resistance or support. But the main thing, like I could, let's just do this, right? I could turn it off on the 1 minute, and I would just go like this on the 1 minute, 100 on the trend transparency. It'll disappear. Boom, it's gone. And I'm not going to even look at that on the 1 minute. I'm going to look at it on the 5. And I'll be like, okay, from the bottom of here to the top of here, how much room do I have? Right? From the bottom of 216 to the top of 230, how much room do I have? So if I like, that's what I'm looking for. So over here, right? Say we got the level bounce from this 142 to the mid area of that downtrend. How much room do I have? That's 50 points. I have plenty of room to catch setup, to catch a potential trade there, right? If I get to this, right? If I get to 250, or I'm sorry, 250. If I get to 192.93, where that downtrend, that line was, from here, how much room do I have up? 93 to 28. That's about 40-ish points. I have plenty of room in between to collect some. If I see setups that line up, I know I have potential to collect my points. And I'm not looking at the one. If you look at the one, tends to be tight, right? The one is a little tighter. So the one is good to eyeball potential areas of range, which I do use on occasion. But I don't use the one as a main guide. But I do like to look at it because it could really, really not dictate, it can really, really, really show you how strong that uptrend is in the long term for that short basis time, right? Because what it helps you do, if it fails to consistently break that first level, it's a strong uptrend. So that's the only reason I really have it up. Because I'm going to be extra cautious. If it's a strong uptrend, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to wait until it gets to a level because it's going to keep going up, and I'm going to wait until it gets to a level because I'm not going to try to short it while the uptrend's holding strong. Let's turn it back on. And then we can kind of see, right? The cloud is one of those things, the trend cloud, right? Trend is your friend. So the cloud is still a nice tool to use and to look at. There are people that I know that have used the cloud. Did I not make that right? That have used the cloud. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. I hit the wrong thing. That have used the cloud as something to use to hold the runner until the cloud breaks. Could you do that? Yes. Do I do that? No. Why? Because I'm not patient enough. Simple as that. Right? Here's the flip of the trend. Right? As long as it stays double green, you can hold on to a runner. Right? You would kind of go into the red a little bit here. Again, I want to do that, but here it breaks again here, and then it holds, and then it breaks here. Right? This is where it breaks. Then it breaks up again, and then it holds, and then it breaks down right here. Little things like that. That's what the 1 minute is good for, as a good sense of how strong that short-term trend is. The deeper trend, the higher time frame trend, gives you a good indication of how strong the overall trend is for usually the day or the overall, right? Overall, the 5 minute is still in a deep ass downtrend, right? Zoom out. That's a deep downtrend. Okay. So I'm not looking at that. I'm not looking at all of that. I'm just looking at in the space in between. So hopefully that helps a little bit. But I don't use the cloud as like a confluence zone or anything like that. But I know some people do. Trend is your friend again, right? You could use the bottom of the cloud, the top of the cloud as an area if you want. I'm just letting you know I don't. Like, I personally don't. Yeah. I got a lot. Yeah, Alaskan. I have a lot that use both. They use both pivot and that, and when they line up, pivot levels line up with my levels. Oof, I love seeing them. That's why me and Logan have the streak we have. Thank you, Jehu. So retest line the 5 minute be added. So would a retest of action line on the 5 minute be an added confluence? Yes, it would trade them. It absolutely would. We look up to you. Thank you, Aztec Daddy. Nothing more bullish than a failed bearish move. Yeah, I prefer trading in New York, but I will trade Asia if I have appointments. Yeah. Looking to get a trader five straight to fund it this week. Awesome, ads. Take your time on it, man. Like that's the thing with those consistencies. The consistency rules is you want to take your time with those. So this will be a tight no entry since the crosses after the blue candle. Yeah, it would be if. Oh, just talking. We talking what time? What time was this? 8:14. That was down here. Yeah. 8:14. 8:14. 8:14. Where's 8:14? Right here. So this one, yeah, this one crossed up, and again, right? Look where it's rejected, right at that level. And we have a pretty good range here. Now we have our finally, right? What was I waiting for? The blues. I was waiting for the blues. This little blue showed up, pushed up to the level, rejected, then pulled down. Now we got the actual fighting zone right now. That uptrend on the 5 minutes is really holding up. Look at this. So you see how this break a trend, right? This is why I like to break a trend on the higher time frames, right? That 228 is a major area. Pulled down, could not close. Pulled down, could not close. Kept bouncing off of it. So here, right, 226 is that bottom blue right now. So this is a good educational portion of when to be cautious when a 5 minute level forms on a flip of trend so close. It could easily get flipped because it did break 228. If this manages to break under 228, then there's a chance we may have a push down. But because this is still kind of trying to confirm that break of trend, that 228 area is where it's holding on for dear life. When are you going to have one of your best students become a mentor for one-on-one like Lama does with the coach? Who knows, Alaskan? That's not even in my mind yet, brother. Yeah, I get that. I get told that a lot that they are like a course. All right, when are you gonna have your? Okay, hey Avi, I've been backtesting using minis, but trading using micros. Should I be backtesting in micros as well? Yeah, Jose. I mean, honestly, it's up to what you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with micros. Like micros for me, that's my bread and butter. That's what I've used to do what I do, and I've stuck to it. Like I've gotten 150K accounts. I've played with minis. It's exhilarating. It's exciting. You see those big numbers, but when I see the big red, it's not exhilarating. It's not exciting. It's panic. It's a lot of panic at that point. But you test with what you feel comfortable with, Jose. I had to step away, so if I already answered, I'll catch up. Could you talk about what you see when you look at the candle action lines at 726, 727, please? I'm trying to solidify my understanding of why this wouldn't be a place to enter. 726, 727. So 726, 727. So let's take a look at the 5. 726, 727. So that would have been right here. Okay. So here, the cross happened well in front. So there is a level formation. We are in the middle of a range. So an entry point wouldn't occur until you had your break. Obviously, your break did occur, and you had your retest over here. So this didn't give me, for me personally, it did not give me that clean immediately break and retest. These stronger breaks, let me delete these lines. I don't want to have too much lines all over the place. So these stronger breaks, when they occur, they tend to give a continuation push. And your retest did occur later on, but it occurred with a cross down, so I'd be cautious on this as well. But the overall trend was obviously up. But this right here, there's no clean entry just based on the cross alone, because there's no A++ setup attached to it. The candle is below it, down here. And you're in the midst of a range, right? You had a cross back here as well that did push down. So this is just right for me personally. Would I take the setup? No. Just because, again, this is too strong of a big break. My stop loss will be this candle right here at 06. This one would have been better entry points. When I see these, right, these tend to give me another range area. But again, the trend was up. This would have been a better entry point in terms of retest. And you could have used that candle, that breaking candle, as your guide. But this right here, this 726, 727, this isn't a normal setup, right? Your level's all the way down here at 184. Your action lines are all the way here at 194. That curling, right? That curling right here, I would want it to be a little closer to that level, because there's no chance, there's no guarantee that it's not going to potentially come all the way back down to retest. But I would prefer that versus the level getting formed up above. That's just me. That's just the way I look at it. Right? I want it to be close. I want it to be close. I don't want it to be far. But this did hold the previous range. There's a lot that was already good. Right? I was already eyeballing the continuation up. Right? I was already eyeballing the retest of that 11-10 area where that retracement occurred. And if it kept pulling up above it, right, there was good potential that it was going to keep going up. And it did. But in terms of why, like this setup right here, it's not a setup for me personally. Hopefully that made a little sense for you. And that's me, right? It There are people that play it. There are, but you see it if you play it the way I play it, right? Range breaks, quantum range breaks. This is the candle that broke. If you have the retest, your stop loss will be right there. You could absolutely play it if you wanted to. As long as you respect the play, you respect your stop loss, right? You guys can make this your own. You can play different setups as long as you have your guiding candles. You know what to look for. That's what this is about, right? I am telling you guys the setups I play, all right? The ones that I get high rates repetition and what I'm cautious with. But if you see something, you absolutely contest it. I encourage it. I encourage it, right? But respect your stop losses, respect your sizing, and see what you can do, because there's so many setups you can take. It's all about risk. It's all about execution, right? You have the break, you have the retest. Here's your retest. That's your candle that broke. That will be your stop loss. Happened over here again, right? You had here, right, on the bear side, you had that candle that broke, right? But where do you have room to go? The level down here, not much room. I wouldn't take a short. You also had broken the previous range, so we need to break this too. I want to take a short. There's more room up potential, and then there's your second break, right? You can see how this played out multiple times. It did the exact same thing multiple times. Here's your break. Here's a little bit of retest, bounce, 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 bounce. Then it broke down below, broke back up, broke here, right? It did the same thing over and over and over again. Broke, a little bit of retest, not a clean touch retest, right? Broke. Oh, what's happening right now? A little break. There's a retest. You know, it's repetition. You just have to trust it. You have to go with it. You have to just take the play. You're gonna see it. You're gonna know where your stop loss is, right? The key is you're gonna know where your stop loss is. You're gonna know where you have potential room to go. Break, retest, go. It's simple, right? A plus plus. This one wasn't an A plus plus, cross happened in front, right? This gave you a bunch of crosses in a zone. This is something I didn't go over I went over last time too, right? When you have multiple crosses in the same price area, that's a key area, right? Remember how I was saying 230, right? Oh, 230. What else is 230? The break a trend on the 5 minute. Where are all these crosses happening? 231, 232, 231, 231, 231. So 230 is a major area, right? Cross happened in front, not a real A plus plus. Crop it in front, not a real plus plus. Cross happened in front. Look at this. Cross happened behind A plus plus. There's your A plus plus. There's your result. There's a reason. That's why I look for candle closure entry. If you didn't get in on the candle closure, retest of the level. Okay. And this provided you 2 stop losses, either below 230, right? 230 needed to hold, or 226 if you wanted to give it a little bit of breathing room. 22-point launch. Okay. I've been long since 25, 195. Let's go, Jose. Yeah, Javi, first session here. Awesome, man. I'm not seeing some of the action lines that appear. Your latest video settings is the most up-to-date setup video. I think so. I mean, you know what? We did update it so that the settings are pretty much set to what I use, right? If you have non-premium, the only thing is you would just click non-premium. You do not need premium to use Quantum. The premium is just gives you the signals and the stuff you need for the 30 and the 30-second and the 15-second and lower time frames. But what you want to see is you want to see your time frame 1 SR at the 1 minute and your time frame 2 SR at the 5 minutes 4 and Q. And you should see those levels. If you don't see them, you might need to adjust your max points from current price, and you might need to adjust. You might need to make the points higher if the levels are not close enough. Right? I have the 5 minute set to 1,000, and I have the 1 minute set to like 300 or 400. I put it at 500 at times, but I like to see the 5 minute levels a lot deeper, and then on the 1 minute, I like to see the closer stuff. So this is what you're gonna make adjustments to if you don't see levels. They might not be nearby, and you probably have to put the number up. Hopefully that helps you. All right. Yes, exactly. So Jehu, that's exactly. So when you have that bowling, right, and you have the cross formation occur, then you see your confirmation with that candle. When that candle shows up, you're like, it's a great feeling because those candles show up like this, and those are those plays. If you guys go back to my old content, and when you see like I make 300 in the blink of an eye, it's like a second. Those are those setups. Like I get in on the curling, I get in on those bowlings, and I'm waiting for that candle to show up. And when it does, it's like a boom and it's explosion. So it's freaking awesome. And they're very low risk ploys, but damn, this thing is going. Oh man, look at that. There's movement tonight. There is really decent movement tonight. Next area, right? Next area isn't going to be until 301. That's a 50-point space, right? That's a lot of room for it to go up. Am I gonna get a trade into that? No, because it could easily start resisting anywhere in between. Right now, it's trying to break this guy right here. So this so there's a couple purple candles right here. I'm gonna put lines on them because I don't have anything in between. I'm gonna put these guys over here. I'm gonna get rid of these. And this is like something I do when I don't have levels. I got this purple guy and I got that purple guy. So these are the areas, right? So now, if it breaks above 252, it can hold above here. 79 would be the next little area. Then after that, the real one. The 5 minute, the 5 minute has one around 262. So we could see 263, 262 has a little purple wick there on the 5 minute. We might see a little bit of action there around here. So we'll take a look at that. Slow motion is better than no motion. And these go longs. That's it. Let it run. All right, Bronco. Have a good night, brother. Thanks, Javi. Makes sense. I need to follow the Javi way until my consistency says I can take the trading. That's good, brother. Slow motion. Okay, can I see what settings one more time? Yes, you can, Ted. Boom. 1 minute, 5 minute. Right, I have look back days set to 30. You could set it higher if you want, 60 or whatever. 5 minute. None of this. I don't use any of this. Right. I don't use any of this. The only parts that matter to me. 1 minute, 5 minute. Right. For gold, it'll be 1 minute and 2 minute for gold. And then down here, right, max points from current price. I have it set to 30. Transparency is how bright you want the cloud. The higher the number, the darker it looks. 100 is for it to disappear. You want to set it to 100. You want it to look like Nickelodeon slime. You set it to 50 or lower, and it'll blind you. All right. Here are your signals. You could change the colors to your lines. You could change the colors to your quantum candles if you want to make it unique to your liking. Right. Here are the other little stuff. Right. The label offset. I have it 215. The lower you drop it, the closer the levels will get, so you can see the actual number. So that might be helpful for some of you guys if you want to see the actual number. And then these are your signals, right? These are the custom signals, right? You can filter other things if you want. I don't. I look for what I'm looking for is the basics. The enable chart signal. So I go entry on trigger candle, allow entry on non-trigger candle. This is the purple candle. Don't like think of the trigger and that thing. The trigger was a triangle thing that was included in that, but you don't need to worry about that anymore. We don't even look at that. And then filter for signal cross, and then you have the max bar since signal, the max bar since trigger 1, and then max bar since signal cross 1. That's it. Holy shit, intellect. Let's go, brother. Hey, Avi, my quantum is not showing. Okay, so hopefully that helps you, Jose. Let me know. So but it shows on NQ. It doesn't show on MNQ? Like it should somewhat look similar on MNQ. Let me take a look. Let me take a look what MNQ looks like for me. Because MNQ does differ slightly. There are slight differences with the way NQ and MNQ show up, but they should be similar. Here's what my MNQ looks like. So it looks pretty much identical. Let's go to NQ. Yeah, they look the exact same right now. I think MNQ was missing this 5-minute level down here. I think that's what it was missing. Nope, it has it there too. Never mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, wrong NQ. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, same amount of levels and everything. All right. She hit 261. She hit 261, and that's where this guy was right here, very close. 63. So that 5-minute purple is still kind of holding down the fort at the moment. So a little pullback off of that. Let's see if it continues to bounce up off of it. Nice trade. Good night, MG. All right, that's good. Hey, looks like you guys caught some stuff. All right. Awesome. Okay, perfect. All right. Ooh, dang, we're already almost 2 hours in. Holy crap. Time flew by. All right, y'all. I'm going to call it a night. I hope you guys really got to get a decent understanding of what we go through here, right? It can seem overwhelming at first, okay? Take your time. Learn each individual setup first. Don't try to learn everything at once, okay? This is a strategy. Remember that. The whole strategy in here. You can use it as an added confluence for whatever you want. Orb, FEGs, fibs, so many things you can use it as a confluence with. But wait for those reactions. With the levels and everything, you can avoid a lot of fake breakouts, a lot of fake moves out of orb as well, if you're patient. It's a really awesome thing to learn to use, and I really hope I get to see some of you guys who are new on our next session next week, or if I have time. I am leaving on Friday to Paraguay. We're gonna go spend Christmas with my wife's family. We haven't seen them in a while, so we're gonna be over there. But I have my portable set up already with me, so I will see you guys next Sunday. For me, it'll be like 9 p.m. though. It's like I think they're like 2 hours ahead, so it'll be a little later for me. But I will see you guys there, and we're gonna continue to learn. I mean, the thing is, everything's repetitive. Those of you who've been with me for a long time, right? It's all the same stuff. Oh, absolutely. We're gonna be Comanches are out, so absolutely we're gonna be able to do them. Do you have any videos on YouTube explaining the indicator? Yes, I do, Brian. I have a bunch of them. You can go in there and you can watch all my previous study sessions. I think I have 3 or 4 of them already in there. You can go to the basic. I have the back to the basic one where I went into literally like the simplest stuff. When we had a lot of new people in there as well, answering a lot of questions, and then I have some that just explain the A++ setup and the ranges. So you can go back and watch those. I have a lot of content in there that you guys can watch, right? You can pick and choose. The study session videos are probably my favorite ones to go to because you get guys like you asking questions, and I answer as many of them as I can. Holy crap, man. Every Sunday. Every Sunday, Jehu. Yeah. Good night, Rodol. Good to see you guys. Trina, good night. Thank you, Alaskan. Thank you all. I will see you guys tomorrow for Power Hour. So enjoy the rest of your night. Sweet dreams. Peace out.